almost makes ground. He taps it back to shoulder. That's a goal. They've just got to sit here. It's as good as you'll ever see.
Good evening and welcome to the Bigfooty Blues podcast, the second episode. We hope you enjoyed the first. With me for this second episode, as was last week, ODN, and devoid of caring, or Doc as we're going to call him from now on apparently. Good evening, gentlemen.
How are you, Wookie? Good to hear you. Good. Yeah.
Wow. So we're off to a great start. And how about you, Doc? How are you today, mate?
Oh, I'm fantastic. That's the best intro we've done yet. We're on a roll tonight.
All the good stuff's on the cutting room floor.
That's it. It's good to hear ODM and not in a bloody water tank.
Yeah, no, he's sounding a lot better.
Sounding great.
I was filming a movie last week, guys. Sorry.
Speaking of sounding a little bit better, I hope we do a little bit better against the Pies this week than we get against the Tigers. How did you guys see the Tigers game? Perhaps ODN first and then Doc.
Oh, we lost the game, so not an awful lot of positives to come out of it. We got back in the match by playing our old game style. Apparently, we let the shackles off and had a bit of a shootout. And Mick doesn't like the fact that we came back in that manner because it wasn't in keeping with his game plan. So I don't know what we take out of it. We probably take out of it the form of a few players. Gibbs has been good in the midfield all pre-season, and again he was great on Thursday night. Hammer finally became the contested mark monster that we were all hoping for. But the bad thing to come out of it, the really bad thing, is...
he crapped his pants.
The most durable of our players, Eddie Betts, is injured. Just flowing on from last year and all the injuries we had, I'm just thinking if it weren't for bad luck, we'd have none. Like who at Princess Park ran under a ladder, grabbed a black cat, swung it around by the tail, then released it into a passing truck full of mirrors.
That's a myth.
It's just got me.
That's a myth.
Possibly
nothing bad
Dennis
happens,
Pagan, maybe.
Might have been Dennis Pagan.
How about you, Doc? How'd you see it?
Right. I was going to bring all the stats in this week after my dismal performance last week, and I got shit-faced. Way too shit-faced. I can't even remember what happened in that second half. Even though, that was the good piece of the puzzle that I didn't get to see, unfortunately. I only got to see the really disappointing bits of that first half, and, well, most of that first half. First, 5-10 minutes weren't too bad. Rest of it was...
I saw the first. I saw the whole game. I mean, I did the highlights reel afterward. Well, I've seen the game about 3 times now. But the first 10 minutes, great stuff. We looked like we were going to go the way we normally do against the Tigers. We were all up and we're all running. And then the second quarter just died. Just really did die for us. And the third quarter, we broke even. And then the last quarter, it was almost like Malthouse went, well, my plan isn't working. What would Ratton do under this situation? And,
exactly.
It was like Rat's plan, and Ratton must have been sitting at home going, well, that's what I would have done. And I'm not coaching there anymore.
So, no, Rat's plan.
This is just plan B. Plan B. That's all it is. It's just plan B.
Plan
we hide
B
it in the bank.
Plan B is Ratton's plan.
That's it.
Yeah.
So
let's not wait till
quietly.
we're 7 goals down before we implement Plan B again, eh?
Yeah, and I was a huge. I mean, I'm obviously a huge rap for Hampson. I thought he played one of his best games aside from his goal kicking. I mean, and he still kicked a goal and gave 2 more away. So, one of Gibbs's goals very early in in fact, the first goal of the second half was a goal to Gibbs from a hand pass from a Hampson mark at the top of the square. So. He did his assists, he did his marking, he did a lot of marking actually. He had a couple that were taken away from some very dubious free kicks that he didn't even have paid against him. They were paid against Casbolt both times. So for me, he played a very good game. And Eddie broke his jaw in the first quarter and played the rest of the game out, which is a pretty damn good effort.
What a beast.
So,
Good effort. But when was the last game that Eddie missed?
Well, I'm not entirely sure.
I think it's been a while.
1997? No,
It's
I
been
don't
a
know.
while.
I have no idea.
1997.
I think is there any that
He was playing under fives or something.
Yeah, maybe.
I think Doc inspired Hampo on Thursday night because he gave him a fair race last week.
Yeah, lots of people do that.
What did I do last week?
You gave Hammer a bit of a roast.
Did I? I don't remember doing it.
You know, pretty hard to bend down. Big, Uncle.
Oh, that's right. Oh, but no. That was Wookie giving him a bendo, talking about he couldn't pick the ball up. I just said being 6'7" is difficult.
Oh, look, I'll blame both of you.
Yeah.
Look, I think we're all...
Blame me.
I don't think there's anyone that can't really be happy about the way Hammer performed. I mean, there's people saying that they are, but if you look at it, the guy took 10 marks. He kicked the goal that we require of him every match.
He pretty much freaked out. He went on a rampage.
He led properly. He marked out. In fact, he marked anything that came within arm's reach, really, and he contested everything else. So, I mean, that's what you can ask for. Anyway, guys, the player votes as voted by the Bigfooty forum are in, and we had 78 people voted, put in 1,150 votes. Wow. Bryce Gibbs coming out well and truly on top, as could have been predicted from the word go, really. He had strong votes the whole way through the process, topped out with 361. Cruiser coming in second, 257. Judd coming in third on 227. Walker coming in fourth with 156, and Hampson bringing up the rear there with 76 votes. The best new player there was clearly Bootsma, voted by the forum 33-14. So,
yeah, some fairly astute judges there.
Yeah, and yet the coaches' votes didn't reflect it at all. Everyone Cochin best on ground. Personally, I'm not really sure how that goes down, but
yeah, 48.5% efficiency.
He was about as sloppy as I was on Thursday night.
Well, there you go. Then nothing more needs to be said, really.
Yeah. So, look, with that in mind, I guess we can move on to the big game that's coming up. I mean, it definitely is our biggest rivalry that we have, and
blockbuster.
It is truly. I mean, we had 80,000 at the game on Thursday night. I think we'll comfortably surpass that this weekend. It's a Sunday afternoon game. It's part of the AFL's push to increase the viewership in the Sunday time slots. So no more North Melbourne Bulldogs games or anything like that being played there. They're pushing Collingwood into that slot, and so we're getting shuttled into that with them. Perhaps, what's your worst Collingwood? What's your favourite memory against Collingwood, Odeon?
Favourite memory against Collingwood? I don't remember. I cannot. Don't ask me the year, but I remember one year Collingwood beat us by over 100 points, and the very next time we played them, I'm not sure if it was in the same year the second time or the start of the next year, but we beat them by over 100 points, and that revenge was pretty sweet. But obviously seeing grand finals against 79 in the Harms step back in, 81 coming back from 21 points down late in the third quarter. We own Collingwood in grand finals, and the centenary match. Where we sort of ruined their party.
What about you, Doc? You got a favourite memory, or are you going to leave us hanging like you usually do?
Do I have a favourite memory? I don't even remember yesterday. All right. I don't really have much, except probably last year's performance. Beating them, kicking their ass twice.
It's a good place to start.
Hey, look, I mean, I didn't get to see any of those games at all. I was at work for both those times, unfortunately, but it was nothing like hearing that on the radio and just hearing it was goal after goal after goal and just losing your mind at work. It gives you something to do.
It's kind of bizarre for me. I think one of my favourite memories is the last game we played against them at Princess Park. And primarily because we played that game at Princess Park over strenuous Collingwood objection. Like, they didn't want to be there. and Eddie was talking about thousands of people being locked out of the game, and we went ahead and played it there anyway. And it was just, I wish I'd been able to go to the game. I watched it on TV, and it looked epic, and I think we won in an epic fashion as well. Just that, I wish we saw more of that stubbornness from our club now when it comes to club issues. But but that is one of my favourite memories, having that big blockbuster at Princess Park in front of a home crowd. Well, ODN, you wouldn't have been there, but I'm sure other people were.
Yeah. It's always good to do things under our terms, mate. But back in the days when we dictated terms and didn't cave into what our opposition or the AFL wanted. But
I think it was the last time we were really able to put our foot down and say, no, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do it this way. And ever since then, ever since the 2002 thing that we never talk about, we just haven't been able to put the same foot forward. So
we haven't got the gloves on anymore.
No. But so there's a lot of memories that people take, whether it's the 1970 grand final, the 1979 grand final, the 1981 grand final, Fev kicking 11 or 12 goals in the Millennium match on his debut for us. Silvani taking a great mark over Starcevic. There's a lot of memories, and there's a lot of if you read through the Collingwood thread, the historical perspective one, the people have a long-lasting hatred of all things Collingwood for a whole host of reasons, and it makes this weekend's match coming up even more special after we beat them twice last year.
I agree, but there's also a little bit of there's the intense hatred, but there's also a little bit of a healthy respect for the rivalry. And I think that's come about because of the expansion teams coming in and having their derbies and showdowns and whatnot, and sort of trying to usurp, I guess, the Carlton-Collingwood rivalry. So it's one thing that Carlton and Collingwood supporters both agree on is
bringing back the old school rivals.
Yeah, the depth of that rivalry. So we hate each other, but we'll defend our rivalry.
It always perplexes me that coaches and administrators play the rivalry down a little bit. I don't see how that's good for football. I don't see how that's good for the club. I don't see how it's good for the supporters, because the supporters, we don't like them. Not as people, we don't like them as Collingwood people as such. I mean, we have nothing against them personally, but it's the fact they support Collingwood.
Just get rid of them right now.
It's the fact that they are black and white, we are navy blue, and I think that should be pushed more. It should be pushed like I don't know, like Elliot used to. I mean, Elliot did a lot of things wrong, but he knew how to run a rivalry.
Look, it's all a lifestyle choice, mate, and they made the wrong choice. So, you can't really condone that, can you?
No. So the outs for this week's game. I mean, obviously, we're told Hampson's out with appendicitis for a week, and that's a really unlucky thing for him. And we're told Betts is out for an undetermined amount of time with a broken jaw. Do you see any other team changes, guys?
There was a bit of a rumour about Gibbs, which I choose to ignore. I don't think that's going to come to fruition. He seemed to run out the game extremely well.
Yeah.
But there's talk of somebody like Bell coming in, so you start to look at who might go out for him. Joseph's a fairly obvious candidate on the boards. It kind of depends on what Collingwood's doing, because they've got so many potential ins and a fairly extensive injury list themselves. So it's really going to come down to matchups and whether we see a role for whoever we have in the team.
How about you, Doc? You see any change?
Other than what Odien's already demonstrated, I don't think so. I can't think of anything else that might be changing at this stage. I mean, I don't know. You just couldn't be any more than that. I wouldn't think. I wouldn't think you'd be changing out. The two that are already injured, maybe Joseph as well. Like, you wouldn't be doing 4 or 5 straight after round 1. Like it just wouldn't make sense.
So who comes in for Eddie, for instance? Like, did they play Yaron forward like they looked at doing at the end of the game, or do we bring someone else in?
Gets a little interesting with that, doesn't it?
Because, I mean, Ellard's been the go-to guy to fill in for injured forwards, and he's out at the moment. He's not due back for another week or 2.
Yeah.
So you don't have that. I mean, you've got Curnow who you can throw in there, but he's not really...
Probably doesn't make the same impact.
He's not really a noted forward. I mean, Armfield can go forward, but I think they'll try and play Yaron forward.
Then who takes Yaron's spot?
Well, it gets to be a bit of a problem down back. I mean, people have been saying for years Yaron has no defensive purpose other than his kicking out and then his silky play and his run off half back. But he doesn't defend, and he has been opened up occasionally. So people seem to think that Laidler might be the go-to guy. He doesn't seem to be in favour at Carlton at the moment for whatever reason. Same with Bell. I don't know what the story with that is, but they haven't been getting game time, even in the last couple of weeks of the NAB Cup. So I really don't know. I'm not sure who's going to come in for Hampson. Warnock
or Rowe.
It's going to be Warnock or Rowe, obviously, but
I'm thinking maybe Rowe.
Yeah, it sounds like Rowe.
Just from what we've seen, it's probably going to be Rowe.
Warnock was well beaten in the VFL on the weekend, apparently, and I think everybody likes a bit of a. It's probably timely too with Rowe's cancer recovery and the fact that we're playing for the Peter McCallum Cup.
You watch the media eat that shit up.
It'd be perfect, wouldn't it?
Jesus.
It would be
a bloody sub. We must have got a Subway, everybody.
Well, he only has to make a contest, and he has to be reasonable at ground level, and sort of maybe block for some of the other guys coming through. I can see Garlett maybe being in the forward pocket, taking Eddie's role, Yaron out to half forward because we still want to use his run so he can run inside 50. We don't want him too close to goal, and Walker will stay back when playing Yaron's role, but probably more defensively.
And Judd as a forward?
Yeah. I mean, he's done it before, hasn't he? He did it on one leg at West Coast for a little while this last year, and
it looks pretty good up there.
He knows where the sticks are, doesn't he? He had 3 shots in a quarter or something, and not like Eddie style shots too, like around the corner. Like none of them were straight on. Like it was.
Well, the beauty is his strength. So, I mean, that recovery. So, if he only has to get the mitts up to get it to ground a little bit, he's going to recover faster than most of them. Having, being the big inside midfielder that he is, just being able to shake off, get that first quick step in to get away from his opponent and gather the ball. Nobody's quicker than him. So, apart from Eddie,
there's a real weapon down there that we can use if we need to.
Yeah, I think so.
So. How do you think the Blues can win this, guys?
You want me to go first?
We usually go first, so that's usually what's going on here. Keep up with us, ODN.
Doc doesn't have anything to say.
Yeah, I don't have anything to say either.
You
might as well just talk.
Look, we're going to win it in the midfield. Obviously, we have to pick up our game as far as clearances go. A lot depends on whether Beams and Ball come up for Collingwood. I think Ball's probably no chance, but Beams, there's a bit of a rumour that he might make it, but he's got a calf. So
I think I was reading something today that he won't, though.
You've heard today he won't. Well, that's a bonus for us. So you basically Swan and Pendlebury versus Gibbs, Judd, and Murphy in there. So I like the quality, but for some reason, despite that quality, we have trouble getting up in the clearances. So we have to do it this week. And I think if we get on top in the midfield, that's going to limit the supply to Cloak. And I've got faith in Jamo and Henderson that they'll be able to sort of hold Cloak. I'm thinking probably thinking probably Henderson will get the job anyway.
Well, Henderson did the job last time on him. And
Yes.
did it pretty well, as long as they didn't get into body on body. Like, you could beat him on a lead or overhead, but when it came to wrestles and stuff, he was absolutely baffled by it.
Yeah.
And how about you, Doc? How are the boys going to win?
How? That's a good question. Who knows, really? Let's just see what happens this week with especially after last week. I don't think I have much else to add up other than what Odian has already said.
Plan B.
Maybe a bit more even spread down our forward line, a bit more even marking opportunities with whoever comes in, whether that's Rowe or Warnock. Cruz, I'm guessing Cruz will be down there from time to time, and hopefully the Fridge actually gets a few marks going on as well. Are we doing the margins or?
Yeah, so Blues to win by how much?
All right. I've been threatened here, so if I don't say the Carlton, this will be my last show. But I don't care. I want to say Collingwood by -10.
I saw what you did there.
He's so tricky.
That's close.
Funny, man.
He's tricky.
Nearly had the flush. I think if Carlton are going to get up, I don't think we're going to get up in a close one. I think we'll stretch it out to 20.
Yeah, I like the 21-point margin myself. It's I don't know what I'm going to tip that pretty much every week. I think. I'm not expecting. I don't until we play Melbourne. I'm not really sure we're going to flog anybody, to be honest. But anyway, thanks for that, guys. It's time for board talk with ODN.
Yeah, there's not an awful lot happening on the board aside from a lot of complaints about our last match and anticipation about in regards to our next match, and a lot of waxings and wanings about mixed game plan and whether it suits us or not. But in terms of what we'd like people to do for us this week, we've got our Facebook page up and running, Bigfooty Blues. Love people to get on there and like the page. Let us know that you're actually looking at it.
Get amongst the people.
We do, yeah. We've sort of all our YouTube videos and so forth are flowing through there, and our tweets and any sort of links to our other threads and so forth. But we haven't got any comments coming through at the moment because we're sort of opting for a one-sided view on things and don't want things to get too well. We don't want to take things away from the board. So just get on there and like it for us if you could. Also, as I said, our YouTube channel's up and running, and that again, Bigfooty Blues, and our Bigfooty Blues Twitter is going. So we've got quite a few followers at the moment, probably well over 400, but we'd like more. And we'd appreciate if you guys, if we put something out, if you'd retweet it and bring a whole lot of new people into our little tight community. Well, there you go.
Excellent. Now we're running we're going to start a new segment specifically for Doc next week.
Because I'm awesome.
It's called Ask Doc. It's more. Well, it's not. Okay, yes, maybe you are awesome, but it's more that we actually want you to say stuff.
That's me.
So we want you to, if you have any questions that you want to ask the Doc, put them up on the Twitter at Bigfooty Blues or on the Bigfooty Blues Facebook page, and the Doc is going to pick out the best ones there. And
just make sure there's no confusion. I'm not Doc Larkin. Please do not say Doc Larkin, or I will come after you.
He's not a real doctor, but he has look at it.
No, I'm not really.
He's not a real
crazy,
doctor, but he plays one on the podcast. So,
yeah.
ODN, thanks very much.
Thanks.
Doc, thank you again. And we'll see you all next week. Have a good week.
See you guys.
See ya.
Almost makes ground. He takes it back to shoulder. That's a goal. Just got to sit here.